What's good, Lakers family, and welcome back to the Lakers Corner, where we talk all things Lakers. As always, I'm your host, John. Very happy to be here. Today is Friday, November 7th, and we got a real special guest, man. This guy is not just any guest. This guy means a lot to me. This is a good friend of mine, a great host that I look up to, and the one and only Gerald Glassford from the Lakers Fast Break. Gerald, my brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I don't know. I don't think you're a gamer. You've said you're not a gamer, but for all the gamers out there, since it is November 7th, happy Mass Effect Day, happy N7 Day indeed. So just a little tidbit out there for you gamers.
Come on, come on. If you guys like gaming, if you like anything, honestly, Gerald does a little bit of everything. I've never seen someone dip their toes in so many different things and be so good at all of them. So, Gerald, it is good to see you here, brother.
Good to
Um,
be here, my friend.
just a FYI for everybody listening, we are recording on Friday before the Lakers and Hawks game. So just want to go ahead and put that out there because I'll drop this episode, then Bronny will drop like 60 points or something ridiculous will happen. I swear that always happens.
Oh, what's that? That sound is Joe Soro keeling
Coming in.
over.
Oh man, this is gonna be a great episode, man. Gerald, like I said, appreciate you being here. You guys check out Gerald's work as Lakers Fast Break. But Gerald, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a lot to get in here for this week 3 recap. We usually start off here with some news and injuries that we've seen throughout the week. And I feel like one of the biggest news that we've seen around Lakers Nation is that LeBron, who hasn't yet played because of his injury, has now been cleared for some contact basketball activity and is going to be reevaluated in like 1 or 2 weeks. So wanted to open up the floor first for you and kind of get your thoughts on that. I do have some follow-up questions like as far as integrating LeBron when he returns and all that, but just wanted to see how you first felt about hearing that this week.
Good news. I know a lot of people are kind of dreading it in a way because the Lakers have gotten off such a good start. They've found basically productivity in places they didn't think they would have. And I think a lot of people were, okay, how's it going to look with LeBron coming back? But again, having another player in the rotation makes this team deeper. And that was something coming into this season. It was very much in question. The Lakers, who had one of the worst benches in the league last season, I know that, again, a lot of people had discussed what was the depth to be like? What would DeAndre Ayton play like? What would Jake LaRavia be like? What would Marcus Smart would be like? And so far, we're getting good returns for each of them, which is making us deeper, more competitive during a course of an 82 game run. And having someone the caliber of LeBron coming in, if he understands, which he said he's a pretty much paraphrasing here, a basketball savant, if he is, then he understands at this stage of his career what he needs to do during the course of the season. He needs to just he needs to be that guy that needs to contribute, pick his spots, do what he needs to do to get into full shape so that the Lakers will be ready with a prime LeBron or a LeBron in good enough shape and not gassed out at the end of the season towards the playoffs. We want, I guess, a LeBron to go ahead and be able to thrive most of all in the playoffs. And then also, if he can, take off just maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes a game combined from Austin and Luka, especially Luka, because Luka playing 40, 42 minutes, even skinny Luka, that's still not a good thing to do over the course of an 82 game season. But that's what he's been averaging as of late for the Lakers.
Absolutely, Joe. So then, the question then I feel like comes to me because to me, I'm right there with you, right? I'm like, hey, I think it's great to have a great player like LeBron back. You know how I feel about LeBron James. But even though I do feel like, he's the greatest player of all time, I do understand that, he's 41 years old. And I understand that he isn't necessarily a plug and play type player. Like he's more of a player that becomes the system, or changes the system a lot. So I totally understand where Lakers fans could have their concerns of like, hey man, I mean, we're rolling, we're on a 7-2 streak. So then, if you were in JJ Redick's shoes, right? I mean, JJ Redick would be smart to hire Gerald Glassford on his coaching staff. But if you were to do that, And JJ asked, like, Gerald, like, how do we integrate LeBron when he returns? Do we want to see him more on ball? Do we want to see him more off ball? In your opinion, like, how is it the best way to integrate a player like Bron back?
Well, right now, I mean, seeing how the fact you cannot keep Austin and Luka on the court at the same time, it's kind of playing itself out. So where when LeBron comes back, it seems like you will have moments where they're intermixed together, but a lot of times due to the load management or injuries, like for instance, right now with Austin's groin, you're going to have him out. You're going to have one guy out seemingly almost once or twice a week during the course of the season because it just seems like that's what's happened so far. Is it going to change? All of them will try to get except their 65 games in there, at least on Austin Luka's end. LeBron, we don't know, but it just seems like, are they going to be able to play well together? Is LeBron going to be told? That's what I tell him. I tell LeBron, focus a little bit more on cutting, on being open for threes, because that's the one detriment to this team right now is the fact that we're terrible shooting threes outside of Rui Hashimura. Right now, we're really bad at shooting threes from deep. So if you can help us in those areas, it can also help us with the rebounding, provide a big body underneath, being able to go ahead and get back into shape, cut out on the break because Luka finds people on the break with his outlet passes. Be that player that we hope he could be, as opposed to the guy that wants to go ahead and dominate the ball like in the past. Yeah, that's what you need right now. And then you can tell him, you know what, later on this year, you can start to turn it up. You can start to turn it on and then focus in on being a dominant player in the playoffs when we need you the most. Right now, during the course of an 82 game season, you can see how well we are doing without you. Please understand you are a help to this team and a benefit to this team, but we don't want you to be a detriment to this team by trying to command the ball and command and take away from what we're doing right now, because you have several players that are playing very promising basketball, and you certainly don't want to detract from that right now. You only want to add to it when you come into the lineup.
Gerald, truthfully speaking, and when I say this, people could even think I'm joking, but I honestly would not be opposed to LeBron sitting for, I mean, like the majority of the season. When I say the majority, I mean like only playing. I mean, of course, he'll be playing in practice, they'll be interacting with the team, but in
What do you
actually,
say, 45, 50 games maybe?
that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like 40, yeah, 45, 50 games. And honestly, I'm thinking the latter half of the games, to be honest with you, the latter half, 45, 50, because in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what happens what happens in regular season. In my opinion, we have a team with Luka and LeBron that is really built for the playoffs. I'm going to be honest with you. Like our team, I think is going to thrive in the playoffs, because the playoffs, it's all about dominating your matchup and dominating that nightly matchup, but also just throughout the series. And I don't see many matchups around the league where LeBron and Luka are gonna get out dominated. Like, and I mean the one-on-one matchup, because if you can beat your one-on-one matchup, now you got to start sending help. And when you start sending help, now you're just playing a driving and kicking game. And that's a dangerous place to be in for the defense. That's a great place to be in for the offense. So that's why
Well, that only works though. That only works though if you got enough energy and strength. I mean, the Lakers spent a lot of energy just getting to the third spot last year, and then once in the playoffs, you saw JJ could trust no one on the bench, so he
100%.
maxed out his players. Hopefully, the additions that were made by Rob Pelinka this year will alleviate a lot of that, so that they will be a lot fresher, not only leading into the playoffs, but allowing them to be able to be more competitive and fresher in the third and fourth period in playoff games.
Yeah, and I honestly do think that our offseason additions, like, can now, most of them can be trusted a lot more than what we had for last season. But what I'm saying, my point is, we can play that type of basketball in the playoffs, right? And for us to be able to have energy like that, we need Bron to really, like I said, sit down the majority half of this first half of the regular season. He can start to pick it up. Like I said, last 45 to 50 games, latter half of the season. So then that when playoffs comes around, I know people, they may be high on the 7-2 run. When playoffs comes around, I want the ball in LeBron's hand and Luka's hand. Those I want a Luka with a possession, making decisions, and then when Luka doesn't have the ball making decisions, I want the ball in LeBron's hand. As great as
So where does
Austin
that leave Austin though?
as a third fiddle, which he exactly is, though. He is a third fiddle on this team. He can be a second fiddle in the regular season, because regular season we don't need Bron to dominate. Bron doesn't need to dominate a game on November 8th against the Hawks when we can get that game with the AR and Luka winning it. They can easily dominate that. We've seen actually AR and Luka sit and Aiden step up, Rui step up, Nick Smith step up. We'll talk about the game and we'll recap the Blazers game. So what I'm saying is we can get regular season wins like that, but come playoffs, I just want LeBron to have enough juice. And like I said, I'm okay if he misses 40 games this season. Like that's perfectly okay with me as long as he's ready come playoffs. Because come playoffs, I want the ball in his hands because he does make the right decision almost every single time down court. I'll be honest with you, and alongside with Luka.
I just think at this point in time, like you said, that we need a team going into the playoffs, and also because of matchups, you also need a team that's fresher, so that JJ can have some guys. I mean, you're going to play an eight-man rotation in the playoffs. If he can play an effective 8-man rotation in the playoffs, I think you're doing yourself a lot of favors by doing that. JJ couldn't. He had 5 guys essentially at best, because we saw he played the entire starting lineup that second half of that one game, and we saw what happened. They just gassed out, and I'm tired of seeing the Lakers gas out. I'm tired of seeing, LeBron and Luka, like we saw them in the playoffs, just continually look for answers, and they couldn't find any because they just didn't have enough the will or strength to do so. We need to see them play effectively and given every opportunity to do so in the playoffs based on the matchups they're in. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's some things that I think the Lakers could use later on the season when it comes to the trade deadline. I don't know if Rob will commit to it because that beloved caps, the salary cap space that's happening in 26 and 27. Will he make a move now, seeing how it is? But again, if this team continues to play at this level throughout the season, it's only 10% of the season done. People have to keep themselves perspective. I mean, on our show, when we do the post-game show, people are already calling out Lakers, title, give them the title. Wait, slow down. Slow down. Slow down. It's 10% of the season done. Injuries can happen. Other things can happen. So, again, if this team, though, stays on its current course and is right up there with the Houstons, the Denvers, the Oklahoma Cities, then I think that will readjust Rob Pelinka's timeline to maybe a lot shorter and maybe a lot closer to allow more help for those guys for a playoff run.
Absolutely. And real quick before we get to the games of the week, you mentioned JJ. Just want to get your quick thoughts on JJ. We've had a lot of nagging injuries, even like 10 games into the season, right? We've had Gabe, AR, Luka, LeBron still out, Duthero's out, right? A lot of nagging injuries. So I want to ask, do you feel like JJ Redick's done a good job as far as like handling rotations with this amount of injuries that we've had?
Well, he's done a much better job than last season. I think he took last year as a learning tool for him, and that's what we were saying. We were hoping that he would use last year as a learning tool because it was very much an up and down season coaching wise for him. Now you can see at point times where other coaches were clearly out coaching him, and he wasn't learning enough from that. Well, obviously he's worked a lot behind the scenes on evaluating talent, when to use them, when to not. And he's much better effective to this season so far, utilizing his talent when the Lakers need it the most. Like a Nick Smith Jr., guy on a two-way, giving him the opportunity when you have so many men down and it working to perfection. Some of that goes to the coach for hitting those right buttons at the right time in doing so. Like a DeAndre Ayton, yes, he is playing for a new contract, and financial motivation is great for him right now, but also keeping a spot as a starting center in the NBA. So make sure you note that to him. And since the first game of the season, he has made a better effort to become a bigger presence in the Lakers lineup. Rui Hashimura, making sure you know that he is still an integral part of both the offense and he's playing a little bit better defense. People haven't said too much about it, but I think he's clearly played a little bit better defense, especially helping out on Wembanyama. He was guarding Wembanyama quite a bit in the different scheme that JJ put in there based off of what he saw and what I'm sure they saw in Phoenix, the previous game against San Antonio. So he utilized that to very great effectiveness, and I got to give him credit for that. I am giving credit. I'm throwing flowers. When you're 7-2, you have to throw a lot of flowers.
Absolutely.
You have to give credit to those responsible for building the team, but also as well for those playing it, but also those coaching. And JJ deserves a lot of positive credit right now for what he's done. He's learned, or it looks like he's learned from his mistakes that he made last season. And going forward, hopefully we'll apply that to a much better season overall this season. But again, the playoffs still loom. What have you done for me lately? That's the type of society we're in. So hopefully he can go ahead and execute that for a long run in the NBA playoffs for the Lakers.
Absolutely, Gerald. I think JJ Redick's got a good future in this league. To be honest with you, I see the improvements year after year, and I feel excited that we get to watch him. We got to see him as the podcaster. Well, we really got to see him as the college player, the NBA player, the podcaster, and then the coach. So let's see how his journey goes. But let's keep it moving, Gerald, and let's get to our games of the week and talk about some of our takeaways. First game that we recap this week is the game we seen on November 2nd. It was Lakers versus Heat. We won 130-120 behind Luka Dončić, 29 points, triple double. Austin Reeves, he had 26 and 11. And then some other positive notes from that game is Jackson Hayes just stepped up, right? Like you talk about next man up mentality. That's what Jackson Hayes showed up, man. Ayton is out because of the back injury, and now here's Hayes. 15 points, 5 rebounds, didn't miss a single shot. He even hit a 3, Gerald. So just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on Jackson Hayes and kind of how you feel about that game. Not just Jackson Hayes in general, just that game.
He indicated that he was working on it during the summer, so I'm happy for him.
Come on.
I don't know if I really want to see him use that as a regular part of his arsenal, but he is also going to be a free agent. Among the 8 players that will be eligible to be free agents at this next summer, he is incentivized to go ahead and do just that. So he's trying to round out his game. I want to see a little bit better effectiveness in the playoffs. He is a backup center, so how much he will be utilized when it counts the most, we'll see. We saw him not really do well during the course of the playoff run, so seeing him effective now, like he was very much so leading into the playoffs, because remember when he was the starting center for the Lakers, he did have moments where he really looked like maybe something that could be turned out to be something more with him. So I'm really happy when he finds those spots to be effective. And I was worried about his injury because he turned his ankle pretty nasty a few games ago, and I'm glad to see that it's going to be all right with him, that he's continued playing. And then like we saw against Miami, him being effective, being available for the lob, being there as a presence. I'd like to see him a little better defensively, being more of a presence and a rim protector. But we are seeing him more active as far as not only just him, but also DeAndre Ayton as well. And props to DeAndre Ayton for really having a good week as well. And yes, Jackson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton providing some quality size minutes for the Lakers is something they sorely need at this time.
Yeah, and honestly, Gerald, you know how we talked about that next man up mentality and stepping up, and JJ Redick having players that he can rely on the bench. I feel like this game was one of those games where, even like how you mentioned, Rui stepped up, Hay stepped up, Jake LaRavia. That was like Jake LaRavia's coming out party. To be honest with you, we talked about it on the post game show, right? Like that was the game where we were like, okay, Here's that confidence. Here's why we got this guy on this team.
A lot of people calling you out, if I remember correctly.
A lot of people were calling me out, but hey, I stood on it though. I said, hey, I didn't see the confidence. Now that I see the confidence, that's what I like to see. I didn't even, he was scared to put the ball on the ground. And I'm not lying about that. But prior to him going off, he was scared to even do anything. And then he got that little confidence ingested into him, and that changed everything.
Well, that's one thing though that the injuries or the games off creates, is that it gives other guys the opportunity to try and expand their game and find more of the offense, so that when you do have everybody together, they know, or what they're going to be able to be capable of doing. And seeing Jake LaRavia, he's had 2 games where he's really exploded. And it just, again, for us, goes back to the bench. The Lakers had one of the worst bench production units last year. And if they can find someone that can get them double-digit scoring off the bench on almost every occasion, that really is a big bonus for the Lakers. And anytime that he is productive, maybe that leads to Austin Reeves, Luka Dončić, and ultimately LeBron James getting it 1 or 2 less minutes a game off the floor, because they're not needed as much with a guy like Jake LaRavia coming in and being productive.
Yeah, and so then my question to you then is this, Gerald. So I know we can't tell the future, right? But from what we've seen and from what you've seen so far, do you feel like this is sustainable, right? I mean, I'm not 25 points per game from Jake, and a game where Hayes doesn't miss a single shot, but do you feel like it's sustainable to where they can give us constantly that, at least a positive play, right? Because like we both mentioned, and you talked about JJ only playing 5 players last year in the playoffs, and it's not because he only had 5 players to play. He only trusted 5 players. So then my question then to you would just be like, do you feel like this play that we've seen in this Heat game is sustainable from that bench, or do you feel like that was just kind of more of a once in a blue moon game from the bench play?
No, that should be something we should see more often, because this team looks like it is deeper. Plus, you also, if everything worked out correctly, I think maybe Marcus Smart should come off the bench. I think he should be part, along with Jake LaRavia and not DeAndre Ayton, but Jackson Hayes. Those should be your first 3 guys coming off the bench at this point in time. That's my belief. Once LeBron comes back, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Once LeBron comes back, of course, you try to find ways to go ahead and utilize those guys coming off the bench, but that just makes the bench that much better. And that makes it a lot easier for this team to flow throughout an entire 4 quarters. You can integrate lineups. If the possibilities become much more realized as far as an efficient offense backed with a little bit better defense. And I understand if Marcus Smart is not kept in the starting lineup, that what does to the defense. But if LeBron comes back and this offense stays at a top 5, stature as far as an NBA offense, at least top 10 at the very least, having him also as well, Jackson Hayes, having LaRavia, who hustles on defense, doesn't always effective, but he hustles on defense and gives you effort on defense, plus a smidgen of Vando, a smidgen of Connect. Those guys can provide something off the defense as far as, especially when it comes to Vando and Smart, a lot of effectiveness that where you need it based on how the game is flowing. But if you need more scoring, you keep the starters out there. It provides more possibilities, and having this team healthy in late November, December, whenever LeBron comes back, makes it much easier for this team to go ahead and continue a march towards the playoffs. I think it really will help if the Lakers can get everybody together on the same page. And then you have Austin playing like that. You have Luka still playing at an MVP level, and you have LeBron coming in and chipping in 20, 22 a game himself. So it really makes for an interesting time for Lakers fans, especially if they can get the defense coming off with Marcus Smart, who's done a pretty darn good job so far, Jake LaRavia, and Jackson Hayes.
So real quick, Gerald, let me ask you, like, what then would be your starting lineup? Because my whole thing was we should actually have Marcus Smart start, and this is wild.
I disagree. I
Only
disagree.
because so is your backcourt Luka and AR?
Yes, my
Are you not
backcourt is
concerned about elite backcourt guards in this league and are
at this point. At this point, they should be more worried about the guys that are averaging 30 and 35 right now. I mean,
absolutely?
those guys. I want you to tell Austin, playing the best basketball of his life right now, you're coming off the bench.
I'm gonna tell him, hey, brother, that's what's best for the team.
No, it's not. I can't. The Lakers have got to right now play to their best strong suits, and right now Austin playing at this elite level is not going to be happy if he goes to the bench at this point in time.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Gerald. But there's
a contract year, man. It's
on a
it's
contract. No, on a contract here, he's not going for it. But there's a personal side to this thing, and there's a team side. And I'm just looking at it from the team side of the aspect.
Plus, again, you also got to realize Marcus Smart has not been the healthiest guy at the past couple seasons.
But we've
also, while you're managing the minutes of LeBron, while you're managing the games of LeBron, I think another player you need to manage and be careful of is Marcus Smart, because Marcus Smart is an important figure going forward and moving forward, especially as it gets close to the end of the season and the playoffs. If he is healthy going into the playoffs, he is going to be coming off the bench and guarding whoever that best player is, and based on the flow of the game. But having what
you just said the best player is not going to be coming off the bench. The best player is going to be starting.
The best player though halfway through the first quarter, going into the second quarter. Yeah, those guys in the playoffs, they play 35, 38 minutes, 40 minutes a game. You're going to have plenty of opportunity for Marcus Smart to be in there, come in there and be effective. But right now, you've got to have your best foot forward, have your best players out there. And right now, it's Austin Reeves and Luka Dončić. Okay, they're both offense
on the offense. But listen, Gerald, there's two sides to the ball, and I'm telling you that it's not gonna. Those are two defensive.
You cannot do this to Austin. Austin has proven right now.
Gerald, I 100% agree. I'm not saying that he hasn't proven. He has proven on the offensive end.
But you're already benching him. You're already
because there's two sides to the ball, and there's thing about making a team fit. This is not
they're winning right now with what they have.
Hold on. Let me get my point off. Let me get my point off. They're not going to the park to play basketball, to play one-on-one. Okay, now my turn, your turn. They're playing in a real organized league. You got to have a team that fits. And I'm not saying that Luka and AR don't fit. I'm saying that if we want to be real, yes, we're 10 games into the season. So
okay, let me ask you this.
Let me finish really quick. We're 10 games into the season. Those two players are two defensive liabilities. We have to at least have one on there, right? And listen, when Luka and AR are on the court together at the same time, the ball should be in Luka's hands 10 times out of 10 because he's the better on the ball player. He's better at making decisions on the ball. So you can keep Austin Reeves off the ball. Absolutely. But you are not fully utilizing Austin Reeves. He is not best playing off the ball. He is best playing on the ball, decision making, and doing the exact same thing that Luka does. So why not allow Austin Reeves to be at his best possible role is when Luka's on the bench, when Luka's getting his rest, and now Austin can be Luka and play make.
Their substitution pattern already is that way, though. They already have parts where Austin Reeves.
I'm talking about simply the starting lineup. That's all I'm talking about right now.
Again, you're not understanding life in the NBA, my friend.
I am, brother.
You tell this guy.
It happened to Manu Ginobili.
Well, Manu Ginobili is not actually up for a contract that could be upwards of 40, 45. Now people are talking about max for this guy. Okay. So if let's say the Lakers commit to this guy next season at well beyond the 25 million we were talking about at the beginning of the season, they're talking 30, 35, 40, whatever price you want to say. Let's say the Lakers commit to a 5-year deal, however many, pick your number, hundreds in there, and you tell them, oh, by the way, I want you to go ahead and come off the bench. You can't do that.
But
you
Gerald,
can't do that.
This
is a guy that
you're basically saying I'm not shooting my shot. You're basically saying I'm not even going to try. Like, that's essentially what you're saying. Because Gerald,
No, I'm not. I'm saying that put your best team forward. Your best 5 players need to start the game. And
and
Marcus Smart is right now a 6-man coming off the bench. It's
that,
just that plain and simple, man.
that
That's the
that
best
doesn't fit.
utilization right now.
You're talking about offense, though, Gerald. There's two sides to the ball. That's what you got to
Right now,
understand.
during the course of the season, it is more about offense. It is more about
Okay,
offense.
that now that's a fair argument, but you weren't saying that. All you were saying was putting your best foot forward. But
Because
yes,
you
that's
never
your
let me
best foot.
finish.
But no, Gerald, that's only your best foot forward offensively, though. Defensively, that's your worst foot forward, to be honest. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Gerald. As we've all seen,
The
defense wins
Lakers are
championships.
7-2 with those 2
We're 10
guys
games
right
into
now.
the season, and how many games? And Luka's already missed like what, like
And you're
3.
already wanting to mess with it.
No, I'm trying to make it better. That's all I'm trying to. All I'm trying to do is thinking about the defensive end. That's all I'm thinking about. Because again, I don't want to misuse Austin. Nor
Well, then tell Rui Hashimura that he may have to sit down. Tell Rui Hashimura that
and run a 3-guard lineup.
That's up to you, because you're not going to get Austin off that floor. You're not going to get Austin out of the starting lineup.
Gerald.
I cannot believe you're actually saying that a guy that's averaging 30 points a game right now, you're going to have to sit down when LeBron comes back. You're going to come off that. I would love to have you. Okay, you talked about me getting on the coaching staff. I'd love to have you on that coaching staff just so you can have that conversation.
I would have that conversation with him, and I'd be like, "Yo,
with his agent right there, with his agent
right there." And I'm gonna say, you know what cures everything? You know what gets everybody paid? Winning. If you want to win,
it won't get him paid.
It gets everybody.
You saw there's
paid.
a ceiling. There's a ceiling for bench players on what they can get. Nas Reed is the ceiling for what bench players give.
But listen, Gerald, I'm talking about just a fit. But okay, let's keep it moving. Let's get to the next game that we had.
I'm talking about real hard facts of the NBA, John.
And so am I, Gerald.
It's not 2K.
You're right.
You're right.
NBA. You're right. It's not 2K. That's why you can't just put the best
this
5.
Is real life.
You're
These
right.
Are finances. This is life-changing money for Austin, and you're just throwing it away by having him
I'm not. See, that's the thing, Gerald. I feel like you're actually not even looking at what I'm actually saying, though. That's the thing.
I know what you're saying.
Better I understand the money's there.
Or the Lakers is on the starting lineup.
Gerald, if you look historically, winning has got everybody paid. Gerald, look at the Bobby Portises of the world. Look at the Kyle Kuzmas.
Did Bobby Portis get a max?
Gerald, he got a lot more money than he was supposed to be getting. And what I'm trying
to
tell
you, the max.
Let me see Austin get the max. Let me see Austin.
They're talking about it now. I didn't say
they're talking about Jesus. They've been talking about Jesus coming back, and I hope he does. I love Jesus, but they've been talking about that too, Gerald. So, but
he does not get paid $40+ million if he's coming off the bench. I'm just going to tell you that he is not going to be happy about it.
And I'm just telling you, I'm just telling you that the fit is better on the defensive end, and there's no denying that. There's no denying.
I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to say you're not right about that. I'm just telling you that the fact is the fact. Real life dictates what's going to go on, and right now, Austin playing the best basketball of his life, you cannot shut him down like that. It would not be good for the team overall. He sits there and starts pouting on the bench because he's on the bench when he's averaging the best numbers of his life. For whatever good meaning or goodwill intent, and obviously defensively, it would make the team better. You're right. It just would not work. The Lakers are now committed to a backcourt right now, as of now, of Luka and Austin. It's just that simple. And right now, barring injury, there's just no way of breaking that up. It's just not going to happen.
Hey, I'm not breaking it up, but I'm just saying in the playoffs. Hey, can you imagine Can you imagine
the playoffs are a different conversation. Austin, obviously, a lot of what he has to make or what he wants to make, a lot of that will be based on what he does in the playoffs. You're right, and that's a different conversation. But during the regular season, I think you should let this play out with the same 4 that we had in the starting lineup last season with LeBron, Rui, Austin, and Luka. And then DeAndre Ayton as your 7-footer backing up in the middle.
Okay.
When LeBron comes back.
That's fair.
I see how that plays out.
Regular season, regular season.
I'm not talking to playoffs yet. We have to see how it looks cutting into playoffs. Because 5 months from now, it could be a totally different story.
Okay. Regular season, I could get with that. Okay, so then let's kind of breeze through these next two games. We have the Lakers in Portland. That was the next game. It was a second night of a back-to-back. Lakers won 123, 115. No Luka, no AR this one, but Aiden stepped up. He had a 29-point double-double. Rui stepped up. Nick Smith Jr., as we mentioned, had a 25-point game. And then we also had, and if you want to speak anything on that, let me know. But then we also had the Spurs, which we barely won, which I actually want to get into that one with you. 118, 116. Still no Austin Reeves, but I love how Luka showed up and he showed everybody that he's the MVP over Wemby. I'm tired of everybody talking about, oh, the way Wemby playing, he might snatch the MVP from Luka. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think
Well,
so.
he was my MVP heading into this
Wemby
week
was?
before Phoenix. Wemby was because, yeah, just because Luka had not played enough games in my opinion at that point in time. But
Mm-hmm.
what we saw clearly, well, let's get back to the Portland game first before we go into that one. But Portland, uh, again, this is about JJ. This is more about JJ in this game than probably any other because of how effectively he got the players to work with each other and take the moment, without Luka, without AR, and without LeBron. Absolutely, everybody stepped it up. Rui had a really good game. DeAndre Ayton, the first time they played Portland, it was not much to speak about, but he had his revenge game in Portland and just played like a guy who really wanted to show something to the fan base there that really sent him packing. So I was really happy for him. And then, of course, if you had Nick Smith Jr. on your bingo card coming off the bench for 25, then you must know something more than we do. You probably know a lot more. You probably know if there's actually aliens on this planet or something like that, because that was on no one's bingo card. But he pushed the right button, and in doing so, understood what kind of player that he needed, what kind of player Nick Smith Jr. is. Nick Smith Jr. can do certain things, he can't do other things, and we saw that the next night he can't do certain things that maybe were needed in that game in San Antonio, but he sure as hell did exactly what was needed, and his skill set dictated for what it was in Portland. Now, how you utilize him going forward is going to be wait and be seen. He's available for up to 50 games on a 2-way contract. I know a lot of people are asking when can the Lakers sign him? When can Lakers sign him? If they change nothing with the roster, the first available date with their open slot to give him a guaranteed contract would be January 18th. So I know a lot of people are looking for that, according to Eric Pincus. So we'll see. But again, this could be one of the best victories of the season for the Lakers in Portland.
And then exactly, and then that Spurs game, like we were saying, I mean, Wemby, he struggled. I feel like he struggled relatively to Wemby's
Well,
expectations.
that's a credit to, again,
I was
what they saw in the coaching staff saw as the tape on in what happened in Portland. I mean, excuse me, what Phoenix. Phoenix laid out a game plan, held him to 9 points with it. The Lakers followed that strategy, and right now it works against with Wemby. So until Wemby and the coaching staff in San Antonio can figure out, everybody in the NBA is going to follow suit on how you guard Wemby. Putting a forward on him, then hitting him with a double team at exactly the right point in time when he either starts his move, makes his move, has to make a decision as far as playmaking is concerned, which is the only part of his game he is really not grown by leaps and bounds as of yet. But once he does, the whole league is in trouble. Once he figures out this, the whole league is in trouble. But right now, the Lakers figured him out, and it was a great sign to see. And there was a terrible game as far as to watch. 84 fouls, 84 foul shots in total. Several people fouling out, including Wemby, or not several people, it's a couple of people fouling out including Wemby. Everybody was in foul trouble. The rhythm and the pace of the game was absolutely abysmal. It wasn't a good game to watch at all. And then again, also as well, the Lakers found a way to win with Luka and Luka not shooting well. Luka shot 9 for 27 overall, and they still found a way to win. That's really a compliment to the team and also the coaching staff as well. They found a way to win despite making mistakes in that last minute, 2 mistakes in that last minute. Luka shooting horrible from the field and still finding a way to win. An MVP performance because he found other ways to help his team get the victory, even though he didn't shoot well himself.
Absolutely, showing the world that he's the real MVP, Gerald. So then, Gerald,
He is my MVP now. He's moved into first place in my MVP right
yes,
now.
he has, and you could check it out on LFB because I put it on there that he is my
Nico Harrison is actually will be my MVP if that's the case. Yes,
big shout out to Nico, man. Everybody has been striking for a little statue for him outside of Staples or not Staples.
I
Crypto.
would chip in for that. Yes,
I
let's
would,
start
yeah,
that
I would
GoFundMe.
absolutely
Let's
chip
start
in.
that GoFundMe. Yes.
Absolutely. Gerald, so then we had three games this week, and honestly, I mean three games, 3 wins. So you have to say it's a great week. We were missing some key players, so we still got those 3 wins. We're currently as of recording 7-2, sitting in the second seed. So um my only real takeaway from the week was great stepping up, right? I feel like we had a lot of games where Austin was out or Luka was out or Aiton was out, and we always had that next man up mentality. But if you had to like choose a takeaway from this week, like what would be your takeaway? Would you be the same one, just next man up mentality, or do you have something else you'd go with that?
I have 2 words:
Okay.
confidence building.
Ooh,
Confidence building. When
confidence.
you can win without your best 3 players, when you can win, utilize different tactics, and when your best player is not shooting well, when you can win in an ugly game where there's 84 free throw shots, when you can win when there was a pretty good Miami team coming in with one of the best offenses in the league and you outscoring them, when you can win with all those factors coming in, John, I really think it builds confidence on this team. And building confidence is a key to a good season going forward. And as you build more confidence, you will see the wins translated into that because Houston and Denver, the teams that many of us picked right there at the top 3, at the top hierarchy of the Western Conference, are right there with them. And they need to sustain that confidence going forward because if they slip just even a little bit, those other teams are going to catch up right to them in a very tough Western Conference.
Man, honestly, Gerald, the West is so crazy. Like it's one game. It will sometimes be the difference between that fourth seed to like that seventh seed, which is the difference of being in the play-in or having home court advantage in playoffs. So man, honestly, the West is always tit for tat. But okay, so let's wrap it up here with our closing segment here that we have. It's called the Rate Your Worry segment. So I have a couple of statements here for you, and you basically tell me your worry scale on a scale of 1 to 10. One being you're not really worried, 10 being oh my goodness, I am freaking out. And let me go ahead and start with this. So, I mean, we've seen Luka play some heavy minutes early in the season. He's nearly averaging a triple double, but also playing top minutes in the league. So, rate your worry on Luka, burning out or being at risk for maybe a long term injury. Are you worried about that? Are the heavy minutes, or are you not really concerned about that?
Very worried.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I am worried. I don't put very worried. I'd probably say 6 out of
Six.
10. I am concerned.
Mhm.
It's like eyebrow raising concern. Looks good right now because it's skinny Luca, but we've already seen finger injury, leg contusion. He thought he hurt his groin in one of the early games. I am concerned. I'm concerned. If we can get 70 games out of Luca, I think it could be very much an MVP like season for him, which would be great for the Lakers and great for him as well. But yes, I am concerned because the minutes, if he's going to average 40 minutes a game, that's not too good heading into the playoffs because then you have a high likelihood or a high chance of the same thing happening all over again that you experienced in the last playoffs. You have to find ways to rest Luca or play him less minutes, even if it's 36 minutes, 35 minutes, finding ways to cut down some minutes over the course of the season so you don't get that much mileage on him while still sustaining a high level of excellence from Luca as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Gerald. I'm also around like at a 6, 7 on the worry scale because I just worry because I wonder kind of what this team. Not I wonder because I guess we've seen, but I question sometimes how successful this team can be without Luka Dončić. I know we can have like 1 or 2 games where Austin can take over, and I love that, but I mean 82 games is not 1 or 2 games, so kind of that is something that kind of worries me. And then another one I have here, Gerald, is this week we've seen the Lakers, get some wins, but also have some late game issues, lack of discipline issues. So, want to get your scale on this. So, rate your worry on the Lakers' ability to close out games this year.
Well, we saw this last year. Your LeBron, issues
Inbound
last year.
pass.
Yes, inbound passes. I mean, Marcus Smart, he knew he made a mistake the second he made it, and he knew that could have cost the team. It didn't. But again, these are things that, as far as learning tools that JJ has to continue to try and develop more. He has to get these guys to focus better when it matters most down the stretch. And if your veterans like LeBron and Marcus Smart are still making those execution errors, that's a problem. Jake LaRavia, that's youth. That's youth right there, fouling somebody with .04 left on the clock. That's just a youth issue. You should have never let him get back in front of you in first place. But with someone like Marcus Smart, you know better. You've been in the league long enough. You got to understand. With LeBron, you got to execute better on those inbound passes. These are things that hopefully JJ will shore up over the course of the season. So I've got about the same six out of
Six.
10 on that.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then the last one here for us here, Gerald, is rate your worry on JJ Redick's coaching. Like, are you worried about JJ Redick as a coach, or are you I guess not worried with him, and you're like, I feel like we're in good hands with him.
I feel a lot better now than I did coming into this season because I still had some issues because of what happened in the playoffs. But I'm not giving him the complete
Cut off.
red carpet yet, but
Mhm.
I do say it's really getting into a better direction. He is learning. The Lakers are more effective in the third quarters. It's not always been a third quarter doldrums. It was in the last game, but the third quarter hasn't always been a death knell for us like it has been in the past. We're seeing signs that he's better able to utilize his talent coming off the bench. He's been more able to correctly push buttons on knowing which guy will be effective at which point during the game, which is an effective tool for coaches. If you're a coach that understands that, then really it just shows that you're maturing as a coach. So I am more confident in JJ's coaching than I was even to start the season. So I'd probably say, out of the concern level, I'd probably say 4 out of 10. How about that?
4. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
so
like
it was
that.
it was an 8 out of 10 heading into this season, but now
That's
it's
that's that's
it's good.
improvement, Gerald. That's a lot of
Yeah,
improvement. That is
a
a
lot of
lot of
improvement.
improvement. 100%. All right, man.
We got to
Well,
see in the playoffs, though. We still have to
yeah,
see in the
that
playoffs.
that's the real test. Because I was gonna say, to be real with you, I have been high on JJ even when he was a podcaster coming into being a coach. I was like, bro, I feel like this guy's no X's and O's. He knows he has a good relationship with the players. I think it's gonna work out. But and then it, his inexperiences of coaching really came out in the playoffs, and I was like, oh man, maybe I jumped the gun here. I'm gonna be honest. And then so to see his improvement is definitely promising. So I love your number there. I'm right there at that 3-4 slot with you as well. But Gerald, man, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day. You do so much for not only me, Joe, and all Sean, all the guys for at LFB, but also taking out your time to come over here at Lakers Corner. Do you have any last words to say before we get out of here, Joe?
I'm just grateful to be on. And anybody out there, please, if you can, John and I are still little minnows, little guppies in the sea of YouTube. But the thing is, we want to become like those, not just manta ray size. We like great white sharks. We want to eat up other small channels is our goal. And the thing is, we bring entertainment, but we bring personality that no one else has. And I just, with the slew of Lakers podcasts that are out there that just bring just blandness and just the same generic type of views of everything comes like, I think we are a breath of fresh air, and I hope enough people will latch on that you and I can, like we talk about, like we always talk about, like we've been in front up front with our fans on and our followers on. We'd like to make this something that we would like to be a living for our families. We'd like to provide our families. We'd like to be proud and say it's because of what John does at the Lakers Corner and what I do at the Lakers Fast Break. So if you can find ways to support us, it would be truly appreciative of it, because again, things like this may not last forever. I mean, John and I can only last forever doing this. So I'm sincerely asking you guys, if you know somebody out there that's a Lakers fan or a basketball fan in general, please have them give us a try, because I think they wouldn't regret it at all. I think they would be very pleased by what they saw.
Absolutely, man. You guys
Despite
do.
Joe Soro being there.
Joe Soro is a character, which we will have Joe Soro on the show at some point during the season. But Gerald, you were one of the first persons I wanted to get on the show because you are just like I said in the beginning, man. Really appreciate all that you do for me, and all that you do with LFB. You do a lot of great work, so that's got to get put out there. It's got to get praised. Like how you were saying, we got to give flowers when people step up. You got to give your flowers, Gerald, for
You do too, my friend. I mean, your success on social media should not be underestimated at all, and should be applauded and appreciated by everyone out there, especially if you're a Lakers fan. So continued success for you, my friend, as well.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. For everybody else out there, everything of Gerald, everything Lakers Fast Break will be linked in the description down below, and I'll have it right there under his little square. But for now, we're out of here, y'all.